With the WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season. But with all of the drama currently surrounding the WNBA, on top of the low-paying salaries, some of these players are questioning if
Caitlin Clark just dropped a bombshell, and the entire WNBA is buzzing. After an incredible rookie season, she's thinking about leaving the league. Fans are stunned. Why would she even consider stepping away now? Maybe it's the physical toll from those intense games, or could it be the lack of support when she needed it most?
Locker room after the game ended, where obviously people were pretty disappointed in the outcome. I think it gave us a taste of where we wanted to be. At the same time, I felt like we could have done a little bit more to help it get back here for a game 3, and that's what really kind of stunk about the whole thing.
That tough playoff loss against the Connecticut Sun, she played every single minute but still came up short. It's not just that though, there's more happening beneath the surface, a mix of frustrations and challenges piling up. We're about to dive deep into what's really going on with Caitlin Clark, and why she might be calling it quits. But first, let's talk about Clark's final game of 2024.
The season's over. The season is officially over for the Indiana Fever. What? Why? Down the stretch. Caitlin Clark got us back in the game by herself. She got us back in the game by herself. And do you want to know what we did down the stretch? We ran 5 plays in a row for Kelsey Mitchell.
Against Connecticut Sun, Caitlin was on the floor since the first to the last whistle. She played all 40 minutes, becoming only the 4th rook in WNBA history to do so in a playoff game. Clark scored 25 points, and wasn't just putting up shots, she was the engine of the team, setting them up with scoring opportunities anytime she could. When you factor in her assists, she was responsible for 45 of the Fever's points, the most ever by a rookie in a WNBA playoff game. But here's the thing. While Caitlin was out there making history, her teammates weren't exactly stepping up. It felt like she was carrying the entire team on her back. Missed shots, sloppy turnovers, and a lack of hustle from others made it an uphill battle.
Caitlin Clark ended the game with 25 points. She didn't shoot the ball in the last 4 minutes because every play was ran for Kelsey Mitchell. We're down 1 point. We are down 1 point. 1 second to go on an inbound play at a timeout. We run the play with Caitlin as a decoy. We're then down 1 point again. The ball goes into Kelsey Mitchell's hands. And she shoots a wide open 3. Good shot. Rick gets the offensive rebound. And instead of just shooting the wide open 10-footer, she jumps, does a 360, throws the ball to the other team. She throws the ball to the other team.
Then there was that incident with Dejounte Carrington poking her in the eye, leaving a noticeable bruise. So both players said it wasn't intentional, but it became a huge talking point. The Sun even posted a fingernail painting emoji after their win, which only added fuel to the fire. It seems like every time Caitlin gets into any physical play, it's blown way out of proportion. She's been heavily targeted on the court, and it's taking a toll. Despite her record-breaking performance, the lack of support and the constant scrutiny made the loss even harder to swallow. So even with all the setbacks, Caitlin's rookie year was something else. She set new records that had everyone talking.
Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA as the most impactful women's basketball player we've seen in a generation. And it took a combination of things, both on and off the court. Off the court, attendance, viewership. On the court, breaking the single season scoring record, or the all-time scoring record in college. But now you see her in the WNBA, and you can say the exact same thing. Most impactful that we've seen in women's basketball for those same 2 reasons. Arenas were upgraded, viewership through the roofs. But then when it comes to the basketball, what she was able to do was truly impressive. She averaged 19 and 8. For some context, I won Rookie of the Year. I think I averaged 12. It is a huge feat to get those types of numbers. After Olympic break, you mentioned it, Molly. It's like finally she can wait, waiting to exhale.
Totally.
23, 9, and 8 were her averages, bringing the Fever to the playoffs. I know that there was a big 3 with Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell as well, but what she has been able to do has transcended not just women's basketball, but it's...
With 337 assists, she now holds the record for the most in a single season. When you add up all her points and assists, she was involved in 1,520 points. That's massive. Even with all the expectations placed on her by the public, she didn't stop there. Scoring 769 points herself, she became the highest scoring rookie in WNBA history. And those three-pointers, she sank 122 of them, setting another rookie record. In that playoff game we mentioned earlier, she was everywhere either scoring or assisting on 45 points. The most ever by a rookie in a WNBA playoff game.
When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport. That's not to take anything away from anybody else, but I often argue, when I've argued with folks about this, you think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Magic Johnson? You think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Larry Bird? You think NBA players shouldn't be thankful to Michael Jordan? Because guess what? There were great players that were in the sport before they ever arrived, who did everything they could to make the NBA what it was. But it was when those brothers arrived that it took on an extra dimension and elevated to another level. I'm just looking at some of the numbers here. When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,035 at home, 15,000 on the road. Attendance for the entire league up nearly 50%.
But her influence wasn't just in the numbers. She brought energy back to the Indiana Fever. Fans started filling up the arena again, and ticket sales shot up. Her jersey became a hot item selling out in stores. TV ratings climbed whenever she was on the court. Caitlin brought a fresh excitement to the team and got people buzzing about women's basketball like never before. Caitlin's been taking a beating out there. The physical play in the league is rough, and she's feeling it more than most. During games, she's getting knocked around, and it's starting to wear on her. Remember when Dejounte Carrington poked her in the eye? That left a noticeable bruise. They both said it wasn't intentional, but it became a huge talking point. The Sun even posted a fingernail painting emoji after their win, which just added fuel to the fire.
Moment that made its rounds on social media during and after the game when Caitlin Clark got poked in the eye by Dejounte Carrington in that first quarter of Game 1. Here's what Caitlin Clark had to say after the game.
Obviously got me pretty good in the eye. I don't think it affected me, honestly. I felt like I got good shots. They just didn't go down, and obviously a tough time for that to happen. Like I got some really good looks. I felt I had three pretty wide open threes in the first half that like you usually make. So that's tough, but I felt like I battled and tried my best. Took care of the ball. We struggled to get stops at times, but also like the clock getting messed up, which is one thing after the next. But yeah, overall, like it didn't bother me. Obviously, it didn't feel too good when it happened, but it is what it is.
Now, both players have said that wasn't intentional. Clark had just 3 points in that first half, by the way.
Feels like she's got a target on her back. Get this, 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls this season were committed against Caitlin. That's a big chunk for just one player. She's expressed her frustration, saying, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with. It's like the refs aren't giving her the protection she needs."
Caitlin Clark has personally received 17% of the flagrant fouls called. Literally, she's been fouled on flagrant fouls. 17% of them have been against her personally. We spoke about the Cheryl Swoop situation. We've spoke about the numbers, the ratings. We've spoken about the resentment that Caitlin Clark has been receiving, not by most, not by all, but by, to be quite honest, too many.
All this physicality is taking the joy out of the game for her. It's tough to stay passionate when you're constantly getting hit and the officials seem to look the other way. It's not just about the bruises, it's about feeling unsupported on the court. This might be making her rethink her future in the league. After all, how long can someone keep playing under these conditions without it affecting their love for the game?
I would hope that some of these players, the stars in the league, do not get hurt because they're very important, right? You're only as good as your star players. Star players have to shine, role players have to be role players, and that's why we have.
With everything that's been going on, Caitlin's thinking about what's next. A lot of WNBA players head overseas during the offseason to play in Europe. They get better pay and sometimes more appreciation. Gabby Williams, a Seattle Storm player, in a recent exit interview said that many players feel that they aren't getting paid as much as they're worth. while European clubs tend to do so.
The W thinks that they don't have to pay us more in order for us to be here. And I think I didn't express that when I first talked about prioritization. You know, our commissioner talked about us being able to, you know, make 700,000. That's not true at all. There's not one player who makes that. And we were promised, you know, team marketing agreements and league marketing agreements, but they've fallen quite short. So it's still not enough for us international players to want to stay here, and that's a choice of the players. If I make a choice to make more money, whatever, and then the teams are mad that I don't come back, but that's how it is. So yes, it just the WNBA. You know, if you want us to be here, you have to pay us more. It's business. It's how it works, and that's all that means.
When reporters asked Caitlin Clark about her plans, she didn't give a straight answer. She said, "I feel like basketball has really consumed my life for a year. So I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened." Sounds like she needs a break. She's not even planning to pick up a basketball for a while. Instead, you might find her out on a golf course somewhere in Indiana.
They said on the broadcast tonight that you were not going to play overseas. You were going to take some time. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that decision?
Are you snitching? Are you snitching on me?
I don't. I was focused on beating the Connecticut Sun. I haven't thought too far down the line. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do the next day. So maybe play some golf. I think that's what I'm going to do until it gets too cold in Indiana. So I got that. I'll become a professional golfer.
Not too much, babe.
Yeah.
Just wait. Keep it basketball.
She hasn't said she's definitely going to play in Europe, but the door seems open. Taking some time to think things over, she might decide that a change of scenery is what she needs. Or maybe she'll come back refreshed and ready to tackle another season in the WNBA. Right now, she's leaving her options open. So now, the big question is whether the Indiana Fever can build a team strong enough to keep Caitlin invested.
This is an incompetently run franchise, and it has been for a while. Has been for a long, long time. This is a franchise that didn't make a playoffs for 10 years in a league where freaking 8 of 12 teams make the playoffs. This is a franchise who gave Katie Lou Samuels and Erica Wheeler near max contracts. No more. No more. You've got Caitlin Clark on this team. You are taking this serious.
They've got some promising young talent like Aliyah Boston in the post, but they're missing that veteran presence, someone who knows how to win when it counts. So this season showed improvement. They went from a rough start to making the playoffs, but the gaps are still there. They need players who've been in championship battles before. Adding a seasoned point guard could take some pressure off Caitlin, maybe let her play off the ball at times. There's talk about possibly bringing in veterans like Courtney Vandersloot or even Kelsey Plum. Imagine what that kind of experience could do for the team. There's also the issue with Nelisa Smith. She was a high draft pick but ended up on the bench during crucial games. Maybe it's time to rethink how she fits into the team or consider making some moves.
The team has an Nelisa Smith problem, as in they need to find a replacement. She's gone. She took Indiana Fever out of her Instagram bio. She's gone. She's 1 foot out the door. No, she's 2 feet out the door. Nelisa Smith will never play for the Indiana Fever again. And if she does, I will be shocked. But with her being gone, they're realistically not going to get anything of note from her. This year is going to be just looking at a lot of power forwards, whether that be via the draft, whether that be via Europe. We obviously know how great MMA Simone will be, especially if they do bring in a coach that plays an up-tempo offense. Imagine if you guys watched the way Belgium played their offense in the Olympics, it was like it would be a lot of like high pick and rolls, pick and pops, where the power forward made a lot of decisions. And imagine having like that flexibility of the European style motion offense, where it's kind of like a 4-out 1-in, but a lot of like high-low actions with the bigs, where you've got like MMA Simone, you've got Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark kind of running the show at the 1, with Kelsey Mitchell playing the Julie Vanloo role at the 2. Like that would be you bring in a coach that implements that type of an offensive structure with players of that high IQ. It would be a joke. It would be an absolute joke how good that.
The Fever have to show Caitlin they're serious about winning. If they can build a stronger roster, give her the support she needs, maybe she'll decide to stay and not look elsewhere or head overseas. It's about making the most of this window while they have a star like her. Caitlin Clark faces a tough choice ahead. The physical hits, the lack of support, all weighing on her. Will she stick with the Indiana Fever, hoping things get better, or seek new opportunities elsewhere? The team needs to step up, and fast. Her future hangs in the balance. What do you think she should do? Make sure to tell us all about it in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button.